Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 29th of July through to the 4th of August 2013. We begin the week with a very auspicious chart. We have the Grand Trine, which still continues in the water signs, and that's made up by Saturn in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and Jupiter and Mars in Cancer. So those are the three water signs of the zodiac. And this Grand Trine continues until the middle of August, but we've been feeling the effects for quite a few weeks now. And the water signs tell us to look into the waters of our body, the cellular memory, past memories, and emotional programming. So Saturn in Scorpio has been reconstructing our inner subconscious thoughts and feelings. We've gone back into old patterns. We've looked at our use and abuse of power and our psychology and our shadow side, and we've come to become master of it rather than letting it run our lives. So there's been lots of echoes and memories of the past of how we've psychologically taken on ideas and feelings and then worked with them and attracted things into our lives based on old patterns rather than what we truly are today and what we truly are feeling right now. So Saturn has been doing a great job of reconstructing, breaking down and building back up again with true power and strength. And if we look at the glyph of Saturn, it's like a hardback chair. It's the backbone in our body. It's what gives us our support. But if we're not aware of what's going on inside of us, then we're pulled in all sorts of different directions and we're motivated by things that no longer serve us. So Saturn is taking 2.5 years to go through Scorpio, but with this Grand Trine it's got some assistance. So that's on the Scorpio side, to reconstruct our support systems and really decide for ourselves what we stand on and what we stand for, and to make sure that our backbone, our vertebrae are aligned rather than pulled out of shape and causing us unnecessary pain. Neptune in Pisces is a 14-year aspect, but it's slowly going through that sign. It's at home in Pisces, and when we look at the glyph of Neptune, it's like a tuning fork. So Neptune in Pisces is helping us retune to our true frequency. This is a very gentle aspect, so it's assisting Saturn there, and it's showing us to hold our own tone, not to be pulled out psychically or emotionally into the ocean of feeling of a group or an environment, but to actually resonate our own tone. And when you put two tuning forks together, the one with the strongest vibration will actually entrain the other one to it. So we're learning there with our own Neptune that we need to be the strongest vibration, that we don't need to get pulled into other people's feelings and fears and worries, but we need to be able to go into a group. As the atmosphere is so much thinner now, we're all feeling a lot more and we're all more easily influenced. But Neptune tells you to return to your own tone, to do some short meditations every day to actually remember who you are and what you feel, and to actually step into an environment with that strong vibration rather than getting pulled around by the 95% realms that we don't see, we don't hear, the beyond the senses. There's a whole world going on outside of us and inside of us that's beyond the 5 tangible senses. And Pisces is all about that realm. It's where we come from, where we go to when we sleep and when we meditate. It's all the things that we feel but we can't quite put our finger on. So Neptune in Pisces gently retuning us and aligning us on a spiritual and psychic level to actually vibrate to our own true frequency. But the main action's been going on this month in Cancer because the Sun's gone through, Mercury's there, but Mars and Jupiter are forming the other corner of the triangle. So Mars is the initiator. If we look at the symbol of Mars, it's the sun disk with an arrow, so it's where we take our solar strength and power and passion and direct it. So Mars is fire, and it initiates, and it makes us decisive and headstrong and pioneering and independent. So Mars going through Cancer has told us to actually be in control of our feelings and then to decide where we direct them to make sure that they work for us. And right next to it is Jupiter, so Jupiter's the expander. So we have initiate and expand right next to each other. So our feelings should actually be expansive, not contracting. And this is a beautiful aspect because it's showing us that all the thinking in the world won't help us to sort ourselves out. We just can simply look at expand or contract. If you're feeling contracted, then it means that you're thinking negatively, or there's something that you can go in and work upon and look at. But when you're feeling expanded, there's no words, there's no thoughts necessary for that. It's a feeling of joy and elevation and power. So Jupiter's taking a year to go through Cancer, and it's showing us where we can become a master of our feelings and live a more expanded and joyful and open life. And the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, which expands and contracts. So this is a very powerful magnetic tidal aspect that's going on. So we've had this grand trine for a few weeks now, and it will continue for a week or two. And that's the water signs, and where we can actually get to be master of our emotions, both from the past and going forwards. But the chart on Monday, the 29th, is also joined now by a grand trine in Earth. So we have, in effect, a six-pointed star across the skies. When we look at the chart, it forms a macabre kind of feeling. And I almost want to take this chart and spin it and make it 3D, because it's such a magnificent, sacred geometry that's going on. So the earth signs in the zodiac represent our physical resources, muscles, our body, our money, our possessions, all of that kind of physical stuff. But also on a more esoteric level, it's not just our valuables, but it's our values. So it's our emotional and mental resources as well. It's what we value, and therefore what we put our back into and what we create and manifest in the outside world. And we're also looking at self-esteem, because if we don't value ourselves, then we can't expect to create things of value or receive value from other people. So the grand trine in Earth begins with Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for 16 years, so this is a long haul. And Pluto has been acting a bit like an anchor for this grand trine in water, because with all the water floating around, we could get lost in the tides and the waves and the storms of our emotions. But Pluto down there in Capricorn is almost like a sturdy anchor. It's showing us to really decide our foundations, our physical and emotional support systems, what we stand on and for. So it's doing a great job there with Saturn to say, make sure that your foundations are solid, make sure that your core is strong, and make sure that you actually have purpose and that you're aligned to something that's really going to create something of lasting value, rather than getting tossed and turned around on the emotional waves of the grand trine in water. So Pluto's been there for a while, but now we have a grand trine forming because Venus has come along into Virgo. And Venus in Virgo is all about our values and what we're creating, and our love of our environment, inner and outer, and our ability to just create, to be our own muse, to decide that what we're going to do is going to have some purpose and beauty. It's a very organised aspect, because Venus in Virgo will say, okay, well, if you love music, then let's get to it. Let's make some music. Let's write some songs. Let's learn to play an instrument. If you just love order, it might be that you're tidying your space, again, internally and externally, and putting your house in order so that everything's beautiful and calm and harmonic. So Venus there in Virgo, quite hard working, but in order to create something of beauty. And the third corner of the grand trine in Earth is a very short-lived aspect. It's just as the moon passes over that angle in Taurus. So Taurus is the other earth sign, and the moon in Taurus is all about our inner love of ourselves, our soul desire, and our connection with the physical, and our connection with our own supporting and sustaining love. So Pluto, Venus and the moon all together is a very loving and lasting, earthy, resourceful, creative trine. So the water trine there and the earth trine both come into massive effect on Monday, creating a six-pointed star. all those planets are working harmonically together. That's the point of it. There's no arguments going on here. Each one is doing its job and it's playing its role in the teams, so there's a great deal of harmony going on. And this feeling's not just going to pass on Monday. This is almost like it triggers all of these aspects in ourselves so that we can carry on exploring them and working with them. The rest of the week is just as active, because by Tuesday the moon actually moves to oppose Saturn. So we have a half moon in Taurus opposite Saturn in Scorpio. And the half moon always represents challenge. The new moon is new ventures and initiation. The half moon is the necessary challenge point. The full moon is completion and reflection. Then you get another half moon for necessary challenge before you get to the dark moon and the new moon again. So that's the lunar cycle. So we have the half moon challenge in Taurus opposite Scorpio on Tuesday. So we'll be challenged there to really look into what we value, what we love, how much we love ourselves, what love we therefore attract and receive from others, our own self-worth. And if you're seeing anything in someone else that you don't like, this is the perfect opportunity to take it inwards and see what is the trigger, what's the button that's being pushed there, because there must be something inside of you in order for you to have a reaction. So again, this is a big calling to go inside and to do that internal subconscious housework. By Wednesday we have a yod forming to Uranus, and Uranus is currently charging through Aries for a 7-year period. We're in year 2 now, and Uranus and Aries are like the neural pathways, the sparkings of ideas in the brain, because Aries is the head and Uranus is the kind of higher mind, the genius, the rebel. So when something points strongly, which is what a yod is, a strong highlight and underlining of the importance of that planet, then we need to look at our wiring, what we're believing in, to challenge things, to rebel, to come up with new ideas, and to break the rules a little bit, because that's how we progress. So we have Venus and Saturn pointing at Uranus for the answer, which is to come up with something brand new, to break the rules, like I say, and to be a little bit pioneering and visionary, and to come up with some new answers where the old ones are all being broken down. By Thursday we have another yod, so the one from Wednesday carries on, but the one on Thursday is the Sun and the Moon pointing to Pluto. So I've spoken about Pluto as the anchor, the foundations, it's the rock that you stand on, it's the mountain in Capricorn that you're climbing, and it's the castle that you're building, it's everything that you're putting your back into and that you're taking your time, it's your purpose, but it's what you're building towards. So with the Sun in Leo and the Moon in Gemini now pointing at that Pluto, it's saying basically take your solar power and your inner soul power and have a look at what really matters for you. It's interesting that matters and matter are the same word. So what are you building towards? What do you care about? What are your goals? And this again can be a very spiritual aspect. It doesn't have to be a career opportunity or a desire to buy something. It can very much be you standing up and saying, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to create, and I'm going to do it well. Quality over quantity. I'm going to take my time, but this is what I'm really here to achieve. So 2 yods there in aspect together on the 1st of July, Thursday. But Thursday's a very sacred day as well, because it's the festival of Lunarsed. And Lu was the multi-talented shining one, the sun god of the Celts. And Lunarsed is a celebration that goes on exactly opposite the one that we have in Aquarius in February, and it's to do with the solar power, the radiance, all those Leo aspects coming through. There's a separate video on Lunarsed, so I won't talk for long on it, but it's where we shine our talents. So we've had the big 6-pointed star on Monday, followed by an opposition and then 2 yods, but the real point of this is to shine your own light, to be true to yourself, to have some discipline, to know who you are well enough that you can actually radiate your aspect out to the world and live an integral life. By Friday and Saturday things start to calm down a little bit, but that's more than enough activity this week that carries on. So all of that work can spark ideas, or it can bring up issues for reflection and resolution. But with so much activity, I feel that this will actually carry us through for the next couple of weeks. So it's almost worth taking notes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then forming a plan Friday and Saturday, and actually rolling our sleeves up and doing the work that we've been shown is so necessary. So that's the stars this week, and I'll see you next week.